Hi, I'm Pastor Jeremy, and this is The Next Generation, where we create videos for you as parents to help you disciple your children into the mature believers that you want them to be. Now, we're in our high school series right now, and we're looking at the discipline of giving. And one of the things that you can guarantee to be around youth is to be around food. They're growing and they love their food. I've been a youth pastor for 15 years. And one of the things that I can guarantee is going to happen at youth group time, especially among the high school youth who can travel or who have friends who can travel, is they're going to come into youth group and they're going to bring food. They're going to go out to local places like a local eatery here that we have called Dion's, or McDonald's, or Burger King, or any of these places, and they're going to bring their food in before youth group. Our youth love food. And the reason why we have this up here, because we're kind of looking at the antithesis of things, is as we're looking at the discipline of giving, things like eating out all the time at different places where they like to gather is a hindrance toward the building in the giving that we want our kids doing in the things of faith. You know, at this age, at high school, they're going to start earning some money. Maybe in 9th and 10th grade, they're already earning some money babysitting and doing other odd jobs around the house. And like we talked about in the mid-high videos, that it's important to introduce this idea of tithing. But here in high school, things get ratcheted up another notch because of the fact that as they get their first real job, the idea of giving is really starting to hit them in the wallet. You know, up until the time they were in the house and getting some sort of allowance from mom and dad, in their mind, sometimes they think of their money as mom and dad's money that they've given to me. So tithing on money like that, even though it's a discipline, might be a lot easier to do. But when you get that first paycheck and you're sitting down and you've got $150 for the first time and it's your money to do with what you want, having to think about saying, well, you know what? The first 10%, I want to be a cheerful giver into the things of God, and the first 10% is to start investing into the local body, into my faith, and saying that these things are important is a hard thing to do. Because $15 can do a lot of different things. $15 is a meal or two out at some of these local places. $15 is a number of songs that they can buy on their iPod. $15 is a subscription or a movie ticket or a fun day out or gas in my car. It becomes a little bit more of an expense to be able to say, I want to give to the things that are of God. And yet Jesus said this. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, where your treasure is, that's where your heart's going to be. As a matter of fact, he goes on and he would talk about, when you give, don't give like the hypocrites, who shout to everybody about how much that they give, but rather don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. In other words, we're to give in such a way that it's joyful. 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and 9 make it very clear that God wants a cheerful giver, that the things that we give to the things of God are supposed to be cheerful. We're supposed to be happy about doing it. But the irony is that investing in the things of God make us treasure God more. So during this time, this foundational time, when your children are just learning here at the easiest moment in time about what sacrifice is, what true belief is, that we could subvert our kids' faith by not teaching them how to give. How many kids in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade spend any amount of money on the things of God? I find over my time here, there hasn't been that many. It's a principle that needs to be learned. It's a principle that needs to be taught, not just in the mid-high years as they're forming, but when it starts costing, that's when you as parents come by, hey, were you able to give to the church? Did you give your tithes to this? Did you go out and buy that book that's going to increase your faith? You see, how teenagers spend their money tells you about what they treasure. And so if they have no time for God in their money, they will have less time for God in their life. And so this principle of giving is so very important. And it's important now to set it up to talk to your kids about the importance of giving, because if you don't at this age, this is when it's easiest to give. It's easiest to give now when they're in their starter jobs, when they're working at McDonald's or they're working down, at Walmart or something like that. When they're working at Walmart at a minimum wage job, and it's easy for them to give because it's a small amount of money in comparison to later on when they might be making more. As they finish college, as they have a career or anything like that, if they have not got these established principles in their life as far as giving to the Lord, what are the chances? If they're not giving $15 a week now, which would amount to $60 a month, about $720 a year, that's a lot to a teenager at that time. But it isn't a lot as far as those of us who are out living in the real world, having to pay real world expenses. That's not a tenth of the money in which we make, but it might be a tenth of the money in which they make. What are the chances that when they're earning $50,000 a year, when they're earning $60,000 a year, if they haven't got this principle of giving to the Lord and to the Lord's causes, and that their treasure is not here at not just the church, but in the things of God, what are the chances that they're going to do that when they're in their 30s? When they're making $60,000 a year with their degree, are they going to give $6,000 to the church? I promise you it'll be much harder for them to be able to do something like that than if they haven't started early now. And so as parents, one of the things I want to encourage you to do is, number one, you got to set the example. You got to show your kids that you're doing this too. That you are being a cheerful giver, that you are the one giving. They need to see you in the excess of what you have, because you earn way more than what they do. They need to see the sacrifice that you are making on behalf of your faith in Jesus Christ, so that they'll do the same. So that they realize you're not asking them to do something that you're not doing. You need to let them know the importance of how giving to the church, how using your money for things of faith has increased your faith in Jesus Christ, because Jesus did say, where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be. If we're spending money on Bibles for other people, if we're spending money on buying books to increase our faith, if we're spending money on all of these areas of giving on things of faith, then we're going to be more personally invested in our faith. See, the idea of discipleship, the idea of time spent in the Word, so when we're using our time and talent and finally here our treasures, tells where our heart truly lies. And what we want to teach our kids as they're coming into high school and as they're leaving high school, we want them to understand the importance of the investment of their faith. And this is one area consistently as a youth pastor I find lacking in many youth, because they haven't been taught these principles at home at a young age, so they're not able to do it when they're a little bit older. They haven't established that this is important. And as a result, their faith wavers. It's a little less imposing, and it's a little easier to leave the church when we're not invested in the church. It's a little easier to criticize the church from a distance if we're not investing in the body of believers and realizing that we're a part of this body. But if we're investing in our faith, then we're going to start taking seriously the commitment that it takes for us to be here on a Sunday morning. We're going to take seriously the commitment that it takes for the programs in which our church is reaching out. We're going to take seriously the commitment that it takes for reaching others for the gospel of Jesus Christ, because we ourselves are sacrificing. And that's the message that we want our children, by the time they leave our house, to truly get, so that they will have a joy in giving and a joy in seeing that when we give to the Lord, as I mentioned in the earlier video, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And therefore they will realize that blessing and that investment that they've had in faith, because they've been actively giving in the causes of Jesus Christ. It needs to start now, so it'll last beyond the high school years and into their young adult years. God bless you. I hope that this helps, and I hope it sets a solid foundation for giving that lets them know the investment and the importance of investment of faith, not just in their commitment of time or their talents, but of their treasures as well. God bless you. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you'd like more great content and more videos like these to help you as parents disciple your kids, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also like us on Facebook. Also, if there's a question that you have or a subject that you'd like to see covered in a future video, comment below on either one of these things and we will try and make sure that we cover these in a timely manner. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time.